Hello beautiful people, and welcome to today's pick a card reading, where we will be looking at how the person on your mind is perceiving you and the connection between the two of you. I know I've been gone for a while. It was very necessary. I felt like I had to kind of be in my shell a little bit and take care of myself, and I feel a lot better, a lot more energized, and a lot more ready to kind of do stuff in general. So yeah, hopefully I will get to film tons of more videos, and I just wanted to kind of not ignore the fact that I was just gone for a while. But yeah, for those of you that stuck around still, I am so grateful. Thank you for being here. I hope this reading is helpful or interesting, or yeah, I hope it does something for you. But yeah, without further delays, there will also be an extended and personal readings are available. They're still going on. Yes, I'll also just say that. But yeah, we have 3 piles to choose from, 1, 2, and 3. You can choose as many or as few or none at all if you would like. So now I will leave you to focus on which deck calls to you the most, and I will see you soon. Hello my beautiful pile ones, and welcome to your reading. Today we're looking at how the person on your mind perceives you and your connection, and we're going to start off with these oracle cards first. Then we have some tarot to get through, as well as channeled messages. There will also be an extended, but we'll talk about that later on. For now, I'm really excited to get into this reading. If you've followed my channel in the past months, or at any point, you may have noticed I've been gone for a little bit, which I will talk about in the intro very briefly if you're curious. But essentially, I am very excited to be back and to be doing this reading today. So I feel like the energies have been quite intense. The candles have been going crazy around me, even when I'm not moving. So let's see. This first card, well, I'll explain what each card means in a second and what I intended when I was shuffling them out. We have the empty room. We have the King of Swords. And we have what is hidden will be revealed. These cards I intended to represent the energy between the two of you as perceived by them, how they see the situation, basically, how they see the energy of the situation. And Moon in Detriment, cut your losses. This came out in reverse, which I am just reminding myself, but we'll keep it upright for aesthetic purposes. And this is also to represent the energy of the situation. For their energy and how they see their own energy in this situation, we have the octopus animal spirit, and we have the 10th house. Capricorn energy could be significant, but it doesn't have to be. They don't need to be a Capricorn. It's just how their energy is showing up essentially right now in their own eyes. And to represent your energy in this situation, we have the Crow, and we have Masculine. When I saw this spread, the first thing I felt was that this person feels that this situation is not over, but you may be in some kind of separation with them, or you may have had a big fight recently, some kind of falling out. You could also be on a break or a pause. I do think for most of you, you will be in contact with this person, as in like you are right now in contact with this person, though it may not be very in depth. It may be more about practical matters, like you could be planning to see each other, or for some of you, you could work with this person or have some part of your life that you share with this person besides this connection. Maybe a family for some of you. But it feels like you cross paths, whether that is voluntarily or involuntarily. But there seems to be still some kind of energetic exchange going on between the two of you. And it seems like there has not been a real in-depth conversation in a while. It seems like vulnerability and intimacy may be two things that could have been lately missing from this connection. At least that is how it's coming through from this person's perspective. Right now, they see themselves as being very focused on their career or some kind of skill, hobby, study, whatever it may be that they busy themselves with, and whatever it may be that they're pursuing in a practical and material sense. I think they are very much in that energy, and they see themselves as having to do a lot of things all at once. So they seem to be a little bit in an overwhelmed energy. They may at times feel a bit paralyzed and not end up doing anything, or missing a deadline, or not fulfilling all of their responsibilities. And this connection could have been one such responsibility that they felt they couldn't prioritize, or they couldn't prioritize as much as maybe you wanted them to. Because there seems to be kind of I'm thinking of the best words to use to describe this, because they have a bit of a chaotic energy, even if it doesn't come across as chaotic, even if they appear very cool and collected with this King of Swords energy. And I think you also appear very cool and collected, and maybe also connected. But I think you also appear very calm, collected, cool to this person right now. Even if they know you better and they know the situation better, there seems to be this guardedness between the two of you, some kind of barrier. And even though you are in the same room, the room being completely metaphorical, you don't actually need to be seeing this person physically nowadays, especially because then again there is that distance. But it seems, even if the two of you are on the same page, in the same boat, you've turned your backs on each other. Maybe because you are busy with your own lives, but for this person, I think it runs a little bit deeper than that. And maybe they don't fully understand what you want from them. We have 54, which is 5 plus 4 is 9. And 9 makes me think of the Hermit card. So you may be very much in your shell, according to this person. And so are they. Like, you're both taking care of yourselves right now. And you may both have some difficult patches on your own personal journey that you are focusing on, and some obstacles that may have appeared for both of you. But it seems more to do with personal matters, and whatever personal matters these may be. Like, maybe for them it's career, maybe for you it's deciding what you want with this crow energy, like deciding what is valuable for you, deciding what your standards are, what your expectations are. It doesn't have to be these exact things, but it just feels like both of you have been focused more on the self lately than you have been on each other. And so while the connection remains, it feels like this, there is this, it's an empty room. Like, you're not furnishing it, you're not building. It seems like you've moved recently, in the sense, it doesn't have to be a physical move, it definitely could be, but I feel like the connection has almost been reset, and neither of you has really been putting in the effort to furnish this connection, to rebuild in this connection. And that's not necessarily because neither of you wants to, because with this cut your losses card coming out in the reverse, I think there is, for both of you, an inability to let go. And with all of these butterflies showing up on this King of Swords, I feel like a lot of transformations have been happening in this situation, but with this bird, it again makes me think of independence and freedom. And we also have a bird here with the crow. So I feel like there has been a necessary distance between the two of you. And this has been necessary because you've both been needing time to focus on yourselves. At least this person feels like this break has been beneficial between the two of you in some sense, because they can focus more on their responsibilities that have been calling to them urgently. And I think this person sees themselves as someone who is more logical, and maybe objectively this person is the more kind of practical-minded counterpart. But they also see you as a free spirit, and they see you as holding something that is very valuable to them and holding the power in this situation, even if you may not see it. I'm really drawn to how this crow is like looking away, and it makes me feel like you may not recognize your own power in this situation. And this person might also perceive that. They may think that you are putting yourself in a position of less power than what you actually possess. So you may be, in some ways, avoiding this person as well, because it feels like it's, so this king, I'm just now noticing that it's actually, the face is looking to the left, but this whole time, whenever I've seen this card, I've thought it looks to the right. So there may be difficulty seeing eye to eye between you and this person, but besides that, I think this person feels that you maybe initiate conversation, you say something, but then you look the other way. So maybe within your own energy, they feel a push and pull, but they're also so overwhelmed and busy with their own work or studies or whatever it is that they're focusing on, that they can't kind of reciprocate equally. And if they were reciprocating fully equally, maybe you would react differently as well. But it feels like you've entered this negative feedback loop where it is a loop. Neither of you want to be in this loop, but you are also in a loop and you can't really get out of it. So you may say something to them and they may perceive it as like, oh, pile one is being cold. Now I will be cold, because pile one is cold, so I will match their energy. And then you may think I wasn't cold to them, but now they're cold to me, so I will be cold to them. So there is that like cycle of being guarded towards each other, even though I think the connection here is very strong, and this person also feels that, but they're also very much in their head about it and thinking of all the potential scenarios, especially in a practical sense. I think this person is trying to be realistic about this situation, and in some ways, I think they feel like you have some sense of control over them, even if this is not intentional. It's like you hold some kind of power over them and this situation. And maybe this is because you're actually manifesting this, or you've manifested this. With this what is hidden will be revealed energy, this person feels that there is a lot to talk about, but also there is a sense of hope that comes with those things that you have to talk about, even if it's unknown. And there is a bit of fear and like a little bit of hesitation as well, because there seem to be too many unknowns in this situation right now, according to this person. And there seems to be something that they think you're holding back from them, or you're hesitating on doing, like you're looking away. They also feel that you are having a good time with whatever you're doing. Like, you could be meeting a lot of people, you could be pursuing a goal that is personally important to you. It could be a creative goal as well. Both of you, I think, are very creative people, but maybe you express it in very different ways. And that could be something that you've lately been focused on as well, to express yourself more creatively and more authentically. This person recognizes that there is a spiritual tinge to this this connection. But I think they also question that a lot, since question was just coming out. I think they question the nature of this connection a lot, and I think they do find it confusing, because it's not the kind of connection they very easily understand, but something seems to keep the two of you tied together. Like, you always end up in the same room, but sometimes it takes some time to decide what color you want to paint the room, or what kind of furniture you want to put in it, or if you want to stay in this room, or if it just feels like there are maybe a lot of details that haven't really been figured out about this situation at this point. And for most of you, I feel like this person views this as an on and off thing, like on and off as in you may have had several cycles with this person, several endings and beginnings, or several chapters, because it feels like a very transformative connection to them. But they also realize that it is a lot of responsibility for both of you, because this connection, it's a big thing, for lack of a better way of expressing it. Like, it feels like it runs deeper than what this person is used to, and maybe it's not as easy flowing lately as it could have been. But that's also because it's not a surface level connection. And the deeper you go, sometimes the colder and more mysterious and unknown and scary the water becomes. And I think essentially this person values this connection a lot, but they also don't know how to interact with it right now, or how to best approach it. So I think they're trying to be diplomatic, and you may be mirroring this energy right back to them. There seems to be a mutual understanding between the two of you that this connection is not just suddenly going to fall apart, because it seems like it has not so far. And it also seems like you've been through a lot of frustrating circumstances, but both of you seem very stubborn in terms of like bringing energy into this connection, even if it's not, even if it comes with some cycles of needing to take some time for yourself as well. This connection could have been very triggering for both of you, because it's shed light to the darkest parts of you. That's what this card is making me think of. Like, both of you may have realized that you each have parts of your own selves that you've pushed away, or you've been hiding from, without really, not necessarily doing it in an intentional way. But in other connections, it could have been easier to just quit just quit the connection completely, or to just not deal with these things because they didn't make you feel obliged to, or yeah, that's what we're going for. Not that you're obliged to do anything, obviously, but I feel like both of you feel a sense of responsibility, or at least this person feels like you both do. They also recognize that there is a lot of potential for growth in this connection between the two of you. But you have to agree on what to do. And I think that's maybe been difficult lately because they see you as being stubborn as well and kind of cryptic and hard to read. So they're focusing on what they can work on right now, which seems to be their studies or career or finances. But it feels something more materialistic on their end. Let's get into the tarot. I am curious to see what else wants to come through. And while I am clearing these and figuring out where I put your tarot deck, I will quickly mention what we're looking at in the extended. We will look at their future actions in the near future in this connection towards you. And we will also look at what these actions may lead to, what kind of shifts you may expect in the energies as a result of their actions. And we'll get tons of channeled messages from them, and we will finish off with advice. The link will be down below if you're interested, but now that that's out of the way, how is this person perceiving? We have the Queen of Cups in reverse, and we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. This person feels like neither of you is like doing your best right now, and that may be because someone could be dealing with mental health, or again, someone could be dealing with their material world. But it seems like one has to do, like, there is one emotionally chaotic aspect to this and one practically chaotic aspect to this, both to this connection right now and in your personal lives as well. So both of you could be going through a rough patch, yet if it seems like this person feels that in the absence of each other or during this break, you've been turning to each other more. And maybe without this break, you would have both been looking away, because if we had these cards upright, they would have been looking away. But with them in the reverse, this seems to have potential to bring the two of you closer, or maybe it already has for some of you, depending on where you may be in the timeline of this situation exactly. We have the Six of Swords, we have the Empress. I love to see her. Taurus or Libra energy could be significant. It doesn't have to be. We have the Three of Swords in reverse. I was just thinking, this person feels that whatever obstacles you have, technically they are defeatable. They are beatable. But you have to agree on what to do. And just because something is possible also does not always mean that it works out exactly how we planned. And I think this person is very aware of that, because it seems like they may have been disappointed in the past. Maybe in this situation by the circumstances or by how something played out, because things seem to have played out in a way that they did not entirely expect them to. That this person recognizes the potential for growth that exists between the two of you, and there seems to be a lot of nurturing, caring energy that runs between you as well. There could be physical distance with the Six of Swords, or a need to travel, or someone could travel a lot. We have the Six of Pentacles, They feel like what you've been giving them has changed, and that seems to stem from maybe some kind of chaos or fear or anxiety or a personal problem, a personal rough patch that you may have been going through. But this person also feels that they haven't shown up as the best version of them either. So there seems to be a feeling that neither of you has shown up. Neither of you have been your best selves lately. And there was really a need for space and time, maybe, to have some realizations on your own, to transform. With the Six of Swords and Judgment, it's making me think of Aquarius and Scorpio, and that makes me think of a lot of growth, a lot of new, and a lot of disposing of what's not serving you, maybe especially things to do with your personal perceptions and the mind and feelings that may have been buried deep down, or patterns that may have been buried deep down. I think both of you came to this connection with a lot of fears, and this person recognizes that you have different types of fears. So this may have to do with having different attachment styles, like anxious and avoidant. You don't have to be. And no one really is usually like 100% one or the other necessarily. It's more of a spectrum, but you may have been in a cycle in the anxious and avoidant cycle in this connection for some of you as well. There just seems to have been a lot going on. Like maybe there was always something to figure out and you just didn't feel like it was ever fully settled, or the situation was ever as stable as it could be. At least this person seems to feel like neither of you lately has just been able to relax, especially when you were around each other. Maybe there was always an undercurrent of some argument or something coming in between the two of you, but there seems to have been a lot of obstacles, both practical and emotionally, between the two of you. But both of you seem to be very stubborn about this connection as well, at least the way this person sees it. Because you're still looking at each other, even through all of this. We have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Page of Wands in reverse. They feel like there hasn't been a lot of fresh energy in this connection. And maybe that's why things have felt more difficult, and they feel that there's been a little bit of stuckness here, a difficulty moving forward, especially from past patterns or problems that may have been showing up again and again and over again in this connection. We also have the Ten of Swords. For some of you, you could have broken up with this person. This could be someone you've already broken up with several times, or I do feel for most of you, you're not with this person right now, because again, there is that guardedness. But there is also a little bit of defeat in their energy. I think they are maybe finding it a bit difficult to feel motivated to move in one direction or the other in this situation. And again, I think that's also because there's a lot of overwhelm in their energy right now, and they're not entirely sure what to do with that and how to best. Yeah, I cut the deck and we have the Seven of Cups. I feel like they are in a bit of an indecisive spot right now, because while there is a very strong connection to you and they feel very strongly tied to you, there is also a little bit of like tiredness from both what they're having to deal with like in their own personal life, both practical matters, and also I think emotionally they are a bit at a loss and not exactly sure how to move this situation forward, or like what to do or where to go from here. I think they're not entirely sure. And again, there is that pending like conversation. We have the Eight of Pentacles and we have the Emperor coming out as well. We have the Emperor and the Empress. So again, very strong connection, and they do feel you are compatible in many ways, but there also seem to be some things that need to be worked on, which right now they are having a little bit of difficulty approaching. And with the Ten of Swords and the Three of Swords in reverse, I think if there has been an ending here or some kind of betrayal, if one of you hurt the other or both of you have hurt each other, I think there is a hope that you will heal from that. But there is also confusion around whether you can. So I think this person is going back and forth quite a bit and hesitating quite a bit in terms of how to best approach this situation. We have the Nine of Swords in reverse. They want to get out of their head and they want to do something practical. They just don't know what, I think. So right now they seem to be in a very undecided kind of energy. And there seem to be more unknowns than things they really know about this connection, especially in a mental sense. Like, in terms of actual factual information, I don't think they understand this situation very well, except maybe knowing the basics, like, oh, pile one lives like 5 hours away from me. I don't know. And I really care about pile one, but then I think they don't understand why, or they feel like they maybe need to understand why, because their mind works more logically and practically, and I think they want to answer these unknowns. But yeah, I cut the deck and we have the Ace of Swords in reverse again. A lot of unknowns and a lot of confusion in their energy. And they might feel like the way you're acting also shows that you are as confused as them. For some of you, they may feel that you are being extra careful to not give too much away. We have the Sun as well, but I think essentially there is a lot of love and a lot of care that this person feels towards you. But they're not quite sure what to do with their feelings, because these feelings don't seem to translate very easily into practicality for whatever reason. And I think for most of you that may have to do with, again, attachment styles and the dynamic that's been cultivated here, as well as some physical obstacles that have been getting in the way of this connection. Now, I want to finish off this reading with some channeled messages, and we're going to pick up right where we left off in the extended after. Let's see what this person would say to you if they could say anything. Oh, okay. One of the cards just flew onto the ground, so we're going to take that. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to put it face down while I shuffle the rest. There is a plane passing, and there was also an ambulance at one point, which I didn't point out because I was too consumed by what I was saying. But okay, let's see what this is. We have, will you forgive me? This person might feel that they've wronged you for some of you. I still dream of having you by my side. What message wants to come through for my pile ones? Oh. I'm finding it difficult to connect with you right now. Yeah, there is that like guardedness, hesitation, and having your backs facing each other, even though you're in the same room, kind of energy. There are things you can't see yet. I feel anxious when I think about facing you now. And we have, I'm not looking for anything serious right now. I think this mainly is an energy of this person not feeling like they have enough energy to give and feeling very overwhelmed by whatever else is going on in their life. So I think they do recognize that they're not able to show up as their best self or feel motivated to give more into this connection right now because there's just too much going on in their energy. Yeah, I think on this note, this is all I have for you. I hope this was helpful or interesting, at least. I'm sending you tons of love, and I will see you in a little bit in the extended if you're meeting me there. If not, I hope you have a wonderful day, night, whatever time of the day it is for you right now. Lots of love, take care, and bye. Hello, my beautiful pile twos, and welcome to your reading. We are starting off with these oracle cards first, then we have some tarot to get through as well as channeled messages, and there will also be an extended, but we'll talk about that later on. So we're going to start off with these 4 cards, which represent how the person on your mind perceives the connection between the two of you, and then we have individual cards to represent your individual energies in their eyes. So starting off, we have the Offering, we have the Page of Pentacles, we have Mysterious Mother, which came out in reverse, and we have Full Moon Forgiveness. To represent, yes, this is them, their energy. We have the Owl Animal Spirit, as well as New Moon. I am just now noticing, I didn't notice when I was shuffling, but we have a New Moon and we have a Full Moon. To represent your energy in their eyes, we have the Peacock and we have Cancer, which came out in reverse. We can keep this one that way, actually. That, I don't know. Okay. So, I don't know where to begin with this one. I feel like a lot has happened in this connection, and this person is very much aware of that. Yet, they seem to be keeping to themselves, and they feel that for now, there are other things in their life that need their attention. And I think lately this person has been more focused on their own path and maybe moving on their own from this situation. Because there is this feeling that they feel in some ways observed by you and in other ways neglected by you. And I'll explain what I mean by that, because there seems to be a situation here where maybe this person wronged you or you wronged them, or this is an energy that goes both ways. But there is a perception here of something having gone wrong, and they recognize that something about this situation right now is broken and changed from the way it used to be. This person doesn't know how you feel about them. They don't know where exactly you stand. They can only guess. So whatever comes through from their perspective, I think is going to be this person guessing where you're at. For some of you, you may have been separated from this person for a very long time, because it feels like while you started from the same place, or on a simple level, you may, while you may have started from the same place, like same point of reference, it seems like you've made vastly different experiences for your own selves. And I think this person does feel quite withdrawn from this connection right now, maybe because there has been a lot of time and distance between the two of you. Yet, at the same time, there is still a sense of wondering, what if? So there could be regrets in this situation. There could be a lot of things that were left unsaid. And this person feels like you put this responsibility on them, that it would be their job, their role to bring something back into this situation, or to restart this connection, or to offer an apology. They feel that you are expecting something from them, or they're guessing maybe that you're expecting something from them, but they also seem a little bit nonchalant right now, in terms of, not maybe nonchalant, maybe that's not the best word, but they seem a bit like distracted. That's a better way of putting it. They seem a bit distracted right now with maybe their material world. But for some of you, I feel like this may be that this person feels drawn to other situations. For some of you, this could have been a third-party situation, or could be a third-party situation where this person is with someone else or has been with other people. But if that is the case, you would already know, because I feel like a lot has been said and done in this situation. So I don't think there is anything at this point that's hidden, except for your current feelings towards this person. And it's possible that you may have even told this person how you feel about them and how you feel about the situation, but they seem to perceive you as like unreadable, and they don't seem to have a full understanding of what's going on in this situation. They see themselves as quite collected, quite calm, quite knowledgeable, and they seem to feel like they know all there is to know about this situation, and they understand it very well. But realistically speaking, that seems to, it could be that they've misread the tone of this situation, or they may have written a narrative for their own self where they don't have to take as much responsibility for their part in how this situation played out. They may have assigned responsibility to things that are external from both of you, or at the very least external from them, because there's a very strong energy of this person being in a place of wanting to keep their distance from this situation and kind of fly above any floods that may be happening. And by floods, water energy. So I'm thinking emotions, because I think this person realizes that there is something unfinished here, realistically, on an emotional level, especially. Like there was maybe not an opportunity for you to get closure. And it feels a bit like you've both given yourselves closure, or you're both attempting to give yourself closure. But at the same time, this person recognizes there is, or guesses, I'm gonna replace that with guess every time I say that, because I don't think this person is really sure of anything, but more so they guess that you are expecting something from them. Or if this situation was to be picked up again, it would have to come from them. It would have to be something that they say, maybe something that they own up to, maybe something that they express in a very straightforward kind of way. I think this person is in a bit of an energy of like going from thing to thing, like whatever is new, whatever is maybe more interesting, fresh, shiny. This person might be someone that is after the thrill a little bit. And they recognize that about themselves, that they are kind of more in an energy of flying away and hiding away in their safe space when they don't want to be involved with something or someone anymore. Like, there is a guardedness to this person's energy overall, and a little bit of a desire to intimidate others, even though they're actually quite vulnerable on the inside, mushy on the inside is how it's coming through to me right now. But I think this person finds that to be frustrating or annoying, and so they assume this energy of, I want excitement, I can do whatever I want, I will be wherever I want, I don't answer to anyone, and I never have to. It seems a bit like they see themselves as quite independent and like they don't really need anyone, yet at the same time they see you as someone with a lot to give, and they recognize they've taken from you enough that at this point you are not necessarily willing to give much to them anymore, or entertaining the thought of giving much to them anymore. Or if you were to give to them again, it would require a lot of effort from this person's end that they may not feel like they're in a place to put in. Like they don't seem to feel that they're in a place to put in a lot of effort. It seems like they are more in an energy of being withdrawn at this moment in time. Yet again, there is this perception that something in this connection just is up in the air. And I think they feel you watching them or getting information about them somehow, and their perception of you is quite surface level. And I think there are a few reasons for this. I think one, they don't have a lot of information about how you're doing, maybe because you don't tell them, maybe because you've blocked them, maybe because you don't use social media and that's the only connection you have left with this person right now. It does feel like there has been a significant separation here, and that this could have happened a while ago. So maybe some of you just don't have a lot of connection to this person anymore, in a sense where they could get information about you or they could see you in person. You seem to have withdrawn into your shell, but they recognize that that's just towards them and not necessarily in general. So they seem to just guess how you're doing. And this is someone who thinks you are very physically attractive and who feels very physically drawn to you. But there is also this mismatch in your energies that this person perceives. In some ways, they may have, especially in the past, underestimated you or underestimated this connection or underestimated what they were taking from this connection. There seems to be something that is not balanced, and I don't think it will be like intentional in every case, but for some of you, this person could be someone that leaves destruction in their wake, and that could be a pattern. This won't be the case for everyone, and you will know how your situation played out. But there is a bit of an aloofness to this person's energy, and a sense of them getting away with things as long as they are willing to sacrifice, I'm hearing, whatever needs to be sacrificed. I think this person can be quite cold. They can come across as quite cold and detached. And maybe that is the side of this person that you got to know more recently. They could have ghosted you for some of you and left you without an explanation. As to why they may have shown up the way they did in this connection, because it really feels like it was an unbalanced dynamic of you giving a lot and this person taking a lot, and yet never really questioning this dynamic. And maybe, and I don't think this is necessarily something this person thinks about, but looking at this energy, this could be a situation where you saw this person's potential, but they didn't see their own potential, or they didn't want to, or they weren't interested in it. I think there are a lot of gaps in their perception of you because, one, they seem to be very avoidant about this situation. So I think they try not to dwell on it too much and dwell on these energies too much. And there is also a guardedness that comes through with your energy as well. So I think this person is putting their focus elsewhere, and kind of, while there is recognition that this is unfinished, I think so far they have been in an energy of letting this situation be and naming this like as a standstill, or just a chapter that's wrapped up, even though it seems like there hasn't been like a full resolution to what happened. And maybe you never got the answers you wanted from this person. Maybe you've had to give yourself some answers because this person refused to. Maybe you've had to play a guessing game with them. So it seems like there's a lot that happened here, yet not a lot that this person is willing to talk about or acknowledge. And they see this connection as something that they would rather avoid right now, at least. But let's get into the tarot and see what else wants to come through. Oh, I didn't bring your tarot deck here. I just realized. Pile two, universe. Pile two. Oh. I really just like hurt my hand with the cards. I think this, I'm hearing you play with fire, you get burned. And I'm not sure who that is coming from or what exactly that refers to. Maybe you feel like you've been burned by this situation or by this person, or vice versa, or maybe it's a mutual energy. Pile two, please. What does this person perceive this connection? What is this person's perception? We have the Nine of Cups. person seems to have a way of coming across very unbothered by everything. We have the King of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the Lovers in reverse. For some of you, this person may have chosen another situation because they see that by following their desires in the moment, they have disappointed you. That's something that they acknowledge, yet something that I feel they may pretend they had no choice or control over, even if it was a decision that they made. They may say, oh, it was the circumstances that called for it. I couldn't have stopped it from happening, and things along those lines. And I don't think they necessarily believe that fully either, but maybe it's easier to assign responsibility to things outside of them for this person rather than dealing with the full consequences of their actions, especially if you've been very forgiving with this person in the past. They may have seen that as a go sign for not really paying much attention to their behavior or how they're showing up in this connection or how they've been treating you. Gemini energy or Gemini season could be significant with the Lovers in reverse as well. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. And another thing I'm getting from this is that they recognize the sides they've shown to you don't match each other. It's like they're different people at the same time. And they recognize the inconsistency in their demeanor. But this is quite an interesting energy because it feels like they recognize some things, yet they push them away with the back of their hand because they don't want to deal with the consequences, preferably. We have the King of Cups in reverse. I think this is someone who actually gets very thrown off by their emotions, which is why they don't like showing their vulnerable side very much or appearing vulnerable, because they actually are quite vulnerable to the control of their emotions. And this is not someone who has control over their own emotions, which is why I think there is a lot of projection in their energy. But I don't think they are aware of this necessarily. I think they know that they actually are quite affected by their emotions, and especially when things don't go as they expected or things don't go according to how they imagined in their head or what they wanted. I think they maybe see that as a weakness in their own self. And yet they seem very uncalculated and a bit reckless with some things. We have the King of Swords in reverse coming out. We have 3 Kings in reverse. Can we clarify the 9 of Cups, please? How is this person perceiving? I'm hearing it was exactly what they wanted at a certain point in time, but then it was time for them to go back to their shell. We have the 4 of Pentacles as the bottom deck energy, and we have the Hermit clarifying the 9 of Cups. We have 2 9s. Virgo energy could be significant or Virgo season. We have the 4 of Cups. I think this person, this is making me think of the Wheel of Fortune for some reason. So I think this person does assign a lot of blame and responsibility outside of themselves. And with this situation, while they recognize they have disappointed you, or they think they have disappointed you, there is also a little bit of an ignorance that comes with that. It's a bit like they are in this protective bubble and they don't really want to assign blame to themselves or take responsibility for that because it will damage their perception of the self. And I think this person in general may be someone who is more detached than attached to everything. I think the strongest attachment they have is to their own ego, in the sense that they seem to really want to protect themselves at all costs, like no matter what. And as long as they have that protection, I think everything else seems like they could just detach if things go wrong. Like they may always have an escape plan a little bit. And this could come from their childhood or their past experiences. Because for most of you, I feel like you've been very giving to this person and they were just not matching that energy, or they were just not able to match that energy. But regardless of the reason, I think it's important for you to realize, if you don't already, that the way this person has shown up in this connection, it's not because that's just what you deserve or that's what you get, or it doesn't have to do with you, but it has everything to do with this person and their own internal experiences and their own journey. And I'm not saying this to excuse their behavior, but to maybe hopefully explain or bring some more clarity as to why they may have shown up the way they did. Because I think this is someone who is essentially scared of their own self and their own vulnerability. And so they're afraid of the vulnerability of others as well, because they don't really know how to interact with that or how to deal with that. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. They feel like neither of you is giving to this situation right now. But their perception of this seems a little bit more surface level, if I'm being honest. Like they don't want to think too much about it. They don't want to dwell on it too much. They don't want to know what they would come across if they were to dive deeper. We have Justice in reverse. And we have the Three of Swords. They feel that their words and what was on their mind has hurt you. But there is this, I'm hearing like, I didn't mean to, which, I mean, you are the best judge of this situation, but it's not that like something becomes okay if the intention was not bad. What kind of determines, I think, the outcome of a situation is how we take responsibility for what we did or how we acted. Being unhealed or having wounds doesn't really excuse hurtful behavior. It can explain it, but it still comes down to if we take responsibility for something. And I feel like there is a little bit of a, I didn't mean what I said anyway, pile 2 should know this kind of energy to this person, like they're maybe taking things a little bit lightly. And they may be in an energy of, yeah, I didn't like show up for pile 2, but it's because I was mad or something. But then they never seem to have explained it or made up for it or tried to make up for it or talk about it. So there is a big avoidant energy to this, and also recklessness in, I think, how they perceive this situation. They feel that there is a lot of hurt in this situation. But it seems for most of you, they haven't really taken action with that realization in mind. Let's get some channeled messages to see what this person would say, if they could say anything at all. Oh, Libra energy could be significant, or Libra season, with justice energy as well. Pile 2, please. What message wants to come through? I'm really attracted to you. What message wants to come through for my pile 2s? What message wants to come through? Ooh. I'm so grateful to have met you. We have, you don't listen to me. I don't feel heard. Is it too late? Please try to understand my perspective. One more. Can we get one more message for my pile 2s from the person on their mind? We have, I feel really conflicted about this situation. What do I do? I think I will now take this to the extended. If you are joining me there, I will see you in a little bit. If not, I hope this reading has brought you some clarity, and that it resonated. I guess if it didn't, you probably wouldn't have watched it this far. But yeah, I am sending you tons of love. Take care, and bye. I also just realized I didn't talk about what we're looking at in the extended. So I will quickly say that we are looking at this person's next actions, and we will also look at the consequences of these actions within this situation and what shifts they may cause. We'll get tons of more channeled messages, and we will also finish off with some advice. Okay. See you! Hello, my beautiful pile 3s, and welcome to your reading. We're starting off with these oracle cards, then we have some tarot to get through, as well as channeled messages, and there will also be an extended, which we will talk about later on. So I pulled these 4 cards to represent how this person perceives the energy of the connection between the two of you. And then we have 2 to represent how they perceive themselves, and 2 to represent how they perceive you. So let's see. Starting off, we have the Creator. We have the Sun. Leo energy or season could be significant, but it doesn't have to be. We have the Puppet and Ring around the Moon, protection. To represent their energy, how they perceive their own energy, we have the Cheetah animal spirit, as well as Neptune. Pisces energy could be significant. We have the Swan to represent how they see you, and South Node, North Node as well. I can see a few things for the framework of this situation. I think for some of you, this is going to be someone you met more recently, or someone that you haven't fully experienced like a committed relationship with, or whatever your goal with this person may be. It seems like that has not been fully achieved yet. If you are on the journey to like getting closer to this person and you're building something together right now, it could be that this situation has not really reached the level that you may want it to so far. So it does feel like fresh energy, but this could also be because this is someone that is from your past that has come back, and it's kind of an evolved kind of connection where you are seeing if you can make things work this time, or like where you've gotten to on your individual journeys, and if it's now a good time to kind of reconnect. Because the first thing I was drawn to is how the cheetah and the swan are looking like the other way, but the swan also has this mirrored energy, which combined with the puppet and the creator, I feel like for most of you, this is going to be someone that you consciously manifested. And this person might be aware of it, like you may have joked about it with them, like, oh, I made a list and it's about what I want in a partner, and like, haha, you fit those things. Or like, I don't know, I put a spell on you or something. I don't know, I kind of get that kind of playfulness. This could also be just something that like is in your energy and not necessarily something you talk to this person about, but there is something coming through very strongly about manifestation, and this does seem to be quite a deep connection. Yet on your end, there seems to be a bit of a push and pull that this person feels. And maybe this is not how you really feel, but looking at how they perceive you, there is a little bit of an untouchable energy to this and to you. And it feels a bit like hot and cold on your end. And maybe this is not how you intend to come across, but there is a bit of hesitation that they feel in your energy, like you're not sure about them or you're not sure about the situation. Maybe this is because this is new, or because there is a past here that makes you second guess like what action you're going to take or what is possible here. But we will come back to your energy again, but I want to talk about this person a little bit more. I think they are someone, I think they see themselves as quite adventurous and fun-loving and kind of like playful, humorous. I get a very orange/yellow from this person. They may be a redhead. I'm suddenly thinking of Ron Weasley. But this person, I think they are someone who is not unafraid. But I also think they try to look on the bright side of things, and they try to take the opportunities that come to them. But there is also this push and pull because they seem to get in their own head a lot, and they seem to have a lot of self-doubt at times, especially when it comes to making big decisions. This may be someone that acts first and then considers and thinks later. And maybe if this is someone from your past, this could have shown up in your relationship as well, or your connection as well. But they see themselves as someone who has a lot of dreams and who tries to go after these dreams, but at the same time, they seem to get easily distracted. So there may also be a little bit of an escapist energy to this person, and they may not necessarily pursue opportunities, but they may just take the opportunities that appear in front of them. There is a bit of hot and cold to their energy as well, and in the way that they see themselves. It's like sometimes they will just go for it and be completely present in the moment and not overthink at all, but other days they will just overthink the whole day. It seems like they may have a lot of ups and downs in their energy. It doesn't feel very stable at this moment in time. It feels a bit more flighty. And this doesn't have to be how this person actually is or how they appear to you. But I think this is someone that knows their inner world, their own inner world quite well. And so they know the ins and outs and the cracks and the sharp edges. And so they may judge themselves a bit harsher than they would anyone else. But how they see this connection is, one, this is something that they want to protect and have more of, and something that they think is very special. Something that seems to have a lot of potential as well, but something they're still uncertain about in terms of where exactly it may go or what exactly the opportunities are here. This could be because you are just getting to know them, but it could also be because there are external circumstances that kind of keep the two of you busy and focused on your own journey. They see you as someone who is very introspective and someone who's very wise, someone who's very loyal and faithful as well. So if this is someone from your past, maybe for some of you, this person made a decision to leave or pursue something or someone else. You will know if that is the case, but I think they see you as someone who is very strong and someone who endures and someone who is very patient as well. But there is quite a strong pull, a very strong attraction that this person perceives between the two of you. And I think that also scares them a little bit. And they think it scares you a bit as well. They may feel like you are not ready to let them in completely. You may be finalizing something or in the process of healing from something from the past. Could also be this connection or something that happened within this connection, but it could also be maybe a marriage that broke down or a loss of a loved one or some kind of big career shift. It seems like they see your life as ever changing and you as a hard energy to pin down. And I think that also adds to this energy of uncertainty, because I think for most of you, you are in some way in contact with this person. You don't have to be. If the rest resonates, like, that doesn't matter. It's not what determines whether this resonates or is your situation. But there seems to be at least an energetic exchange. I will put it that way. Maybe it's better to put it that way, because there seems to be a lot of energy that keeps the two of you attached, like strings that keep the two of you together, even if you're looking the other way. Even if you're so busy with other things, you don't really have a lot of time to go after this situation. But at the same time, with this manifestational energy, I feel like there is a level of detachment that comes from your end. For some of you, this could be because you were looking at another opportunity or you're focused on another situation or another person, and you're not really focusing as much on this. And I think that also adds to the uncertainty this person may feel, because they seem to feel that you have other options and other situations that you could invest in. And I think that makes them feel like they really need to please you or impress you. Otherwise, you're kind of going to be bored with them. There is definitely an energy of wanting to impress you. And also, I think this person feels maybe a bit like younger than you or a bit less experienced. Something along those lines. Like, there is a little bit of a slight feeling of feeling smaller than. And I think that also ties to this person's internal world and their perception of themselves and how they may have some foggy thoughts that they're dealing with right now. I think this is also someone who has a very strong sense of empathy, who is also quite openly caring and nurturing and loving, but they don't show that to everyone because their energy is also quite fast moving, it's quite flighty. So they don't settle, they don't commit until they know for sure that this is where they set up camp, like this is where they build something. So I think this is a picky person, and I think you also are a picky person. And it's almost this energy of the two of you like eyeing each other and trying to make up your mind about the other person. This person feels like you're both interested in each other, but they don't know how interested you are in them. And maybe that makes them scared to think about how interested they are in you, because I think there is a fear of rejection on their end. Maybe you're mirroring this with this like swan. And at times, this is a side note and not what they perceive about you, I think, but you could, if you are very intuitive, very sensitive to energies, you could feel this person's energy. And that could be one reason why there is kind of this hot and cold energy to you, because you're mirroring these feelings or these kind of ups and downs that this person has. But you could also be having doubts on your own, of course, because it does feel like a situation with a lot of unknowns. It does feel very new. Even if this is someone old, it feels like a new version of them. And I was just thinking, I didn't mean to say someone old. Someone from the past is what I meant. I'm drinking coffee and there is like, 4 walls, like, okay. Now I'm seeing like 4 walls in my mind's eye because it was it was bubbling on my coffee. I don't read coffee cups, but my mom is great at that, so maybe it runs in the family. But this made me think of 4 walls. So I think this person, and 4 walls I will interpret 2 ways. I think this person sees a lot of potential for stability, like 4 walls of a house. But there is also a stuckness to this energy and a little bit of stubbornness, maybe coming from both of you. Not intentional and not intentionally stubborn. I don't think either person here has bad intentions towards the other. At least they don't perceive it to be that way. But there is hesitation, I think, mainly from your own experiences and not wanting to just jump straight in to something and then having that, like, I heard having the ground under your feet melt. Maybe one of you lives in a very cold place and the other in a very hot place. You could be long distance as well. There is kind of a polarity to this energy that makes me think you may not see this person very often, or you may live like very close, but you may still not see them very often. But there is definitely a big partnership potential that this person sees in this situation, but they also don't quite understand how they ended up in this situation. If this is someone from the past, they don't really understand how the two of you found your way back to each other. And if this is someone new, I think they just don't understand how you crossed paths or how this situation came to be the way it is right now, because maybe they weren't looking for something. Maybe you knew of each other but never considered something happening between the two of you before, or they didn't. but there seem to be some interesting coincidences that this person is curious about around this situation. I think there may also be a lot of mirroring, and they may also see parts of them in you, or parts of you that they really admire that they think they lack. But it may be things that they just don't see in themselves. Like they may say, oh, pile 3 is so sensitive, so gentle. But I think so are they. They may just not be that good at expressing it or showing it, or it may just not be that obvious, or maybe it's the part of them that they play down a little bit. So let's get into the tarot, and while I'm doing this, I will quickly mention what we're looking at in the extended. We will look at this person's next actions in the near future towards you and this connection, and we will look at what shifts that will create in the energies and what opportunities it may open up, however that comes through. But basically the consequences of their actions, and we will get tons of channeled messages, and we will finish off with advice. And the link is down below if you're interested. Okay, now moving on to the tarot. I don't want to shuffle this too hard because I just did my nails and I don't know if they're completely dry, to be honest. I was not patient today. Usually I'm not, to be honest, but okay. Pile 3, please. How does this person... We have the moon in reverse, Pisces or Cancer, and the moon is for me Cancer, but I know Pisces is there as well, so we'll say both. We have the Tower, Aquarius, and Scorpio. We have the 8 of Swords in reverse, and we have the Page of Wands. They see this connection as something that brings them an entirely new perspective and something that gives them an opportunity to face their fears. I don't know yet if they've taken this opportunity, but there is definitely curiosity and there is definitely interest. We have the Lovers in reverse. Gemini energy could be significant, and this came out upright. I think it was off camera because it was like on my legs, but it came out upright, and then when it was falling it just like switched the other way. So I think there is an indecisiveness in terms of like what to do and how exactly to interact with this situation right now. Or this may have just been what has been so far. You may both feel a lot of unknowns in this situation and uncertainties. We have the 5 of Pentacles. The things that this person doesn't know about this situation scare them. Like, this is not someone who enjoys the unknown very much, or not knowing things, or not fully understanding things, or not... So there may be a little bit of like a desire to control in this person's energy. And sometimes they may check out of situations out of fear before anything happens, kind of just like prematurely. They do have a bit of a runner energy. So if this is someone from your past, that could be what happened. Maybe things felt very intense for them and they felt like they were just too scared and they moved away from the connection instead of facing their fears. We have the 6 of Swords in reverse, but if this is someone from the past, it's kind of an energy of like, yeah, I ran, but now I'm back. Like, what? So it kind of seems like I'm hearing destruction for nothing. I think this person is like perceiving their own patterns through this connection or in some way connected to this connection. If this is not someone from the past, it could be like you told them something, or you told them how your ex acted, and then they were like, oh, I did that too. That's exactly what I did. And like, it seems to be a little bit of a realizations kind of energy. Okay. Can we clarify the Eight of Swords in reverse, please? The Eight of Swords in reverse. Why is the Eight of Swords reading? Okay, that is way too many cards. Only one of them flipped, so that's the one we're gonna take. We have the Page of Swords. Yeah, there is definitely an eye-opening quality to the connection that you have with them. And I think that's also something that makes them feel like there is a lot of potential, both for healing and for something more grounded. But there needs to be stable ground first. And I think this person may not be in a place of like feeling very grounded in themselves and feeling very secure. So maybe right now or so far, that sense of security is not something that they've been able to bring into this situation. When we have the Fool in reverse, Aries energy could be significant, or Aries season, which is where we're at right now if you're watching this at the time I'm posting it. Can we clarify? Thank you. We have a Four of Cups in reverse. This actually seems like they think it should be an easy decision, like yes or no, because I think it's been that way with other people in the past. Maybe they normally meet people and they kind of immediately know if they can settle down or if they should move away or if there are warning signs or not. But I think this situation is one that they find more difficult to read. We have the Magician in reverse as the bottom deck energy. So I think right now they are a bit uncertain about what they should invest or if they should invest. It seems like they're testing the waters a little bit, and they may kind of I don't want to say spy on you, definitely not in a stalkerish, like creepy kind of way, but they may check up on you on social media if you use social media, or they may just ask you certain questions where they're trying to get to know you better. But they may ask one thing but actually want to like ask something else, but they don't know how to ask that, so they may kind of circle around it a little bit. They are definitely curious about you and curious about this connection, but it seems like they have to kind of circle around you rather than go to you directly. And this could also be because maybe you are in an environment where it's not okay for the two of you to connect. It could be a work situation for some of you. But yeah, it's quite hot and cold in energy. Like it seems a little bit like a standstill, or a little bit like you may be going in circles with this person rather than fully knowing which direction you want to go right now. Or they want to go, or both of you. Maybe neither of you is fully decided on what you want from this connection. Is there something else that wants to come through that we're missing? Otherwise, we will go into the channeled messages. Okay. Here. What message wants to come through for my pile threes for from the person on their mind? We have, I want your attention. Yeah, that much is clear, I think. I feel really alone in dealing with this situation. It seems like there are things you haven't talked about, or things they worry you may not like them for, especially if this is someone from the past. They may feel a bit hesitant diving back into the past and the things that happened. We have I don't want to get hurt. There is that hesitation. I try to push thoughts of you away. I think this is someone who tends to overthink at times, like I said, and I think they don't like that at all. And I think they are trying to not overthink rather than like push the whole situation away. I think they're just trying to be easygoing with it. What message wants to come through for my pile threes from the person on their mind? You're on my mind right now. You're on my mind all the time. Well, did you look at that? Oh, that's too many. Oh, okay. Again. We have, I will come back. Maybe this is more relevant for those of you who are dealing with someone from the past, but it could also be that if this person is like taking space or they haven't reached out in a while, it could be that it's not necessarily their intention or their plan to leave this unfinished or like just disappear or something. Because it does seem like there are ups and downs and kind of it's a difficult situation to read. Now I will take this to the extended, where we will continue with more channeled messages. So if you are joining me there, I will see you in a little bit. If not, that is perfectly fine. I am sending you tons of love. I hope this was helpful. Take care and bye.